The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, and it changed everything. Jack Morrison was drinking his third cup of coffee when his assistant ran into his office. She was pale and out of breath. In her hand, she held a data tablet that glowed with the official seal of the Galaxy Council. Jack had been Earth's chief diplomat for 15 years. He had seen many messages from alien species. Some were friendly, some were not. But he had never seen his assistant look so frightened. "Sir," she said, "you need to read this right now." Jack took the tablet and looked at the screen. The message was short and direct. The Galaxy Council demanded tribute from Earth. They wanted rare minerals from the deep mines of South America. They wanted samples of human technology. And they wanted 10,000 humans to serve as workers on distant worlds. Earth had 60 days to deliver everything. If they refused, the council would take what they wanted by force. Jack read the message twice. Then he did something strange. He laughed. His assistant stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Sir, this is serious. They are threatening to destroy us." "I know," Jack said. He was still smiling. "Call Commander Vance. Tell her to meet me in the war room in 1 hour. And contact Ambassador Zethral on the secure channel. I need to speak with him before we do anything else." The war room was deep underground, beneath the old city of Geneva. Earth's leaders had built it 50 years ago, when humanity first learned they were not alone in the universe. The walls were thick and strong. The technology inside was the best humanity had. Commander Lisa Vance was already waiting when Jack arrived. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. She had served in Earth's defense forces for 30 years. She had fought pirates near Mars and rebels on the moon colonies. Nothing scared her. But today, even she looked worried. "I read the message," she said. "This is bad, Jack. Really bad." "I know," Jack replied. He sat down at the long table and placed the data tablet in front of him. "The Council has destroyed species before," Lisa continued. 17 times in their history. Every time a young species refused to pay tribute, the Council wiped them out. "We cannot fight them. Our fleet is too small. Our weapons are too weak." "I know," Jack said again. Lisa leaned forward. "Then what are we going to do?" Before Jack could answer, the screen on the wall came to life. The face of Ambassador Zethral appeared. He was a Vorithian, a species that looked like tall, thin humans with blue skin and 4 eyes. The Vorithians had been part of the Council for thousands of years. But Zethral was different from most of his kind. He actually liked humans. "Jack," Zethral said, "I heard about the tribute demand. I am so sorry. I tried to warn the Council that this was a mistake, but they did not listen. Why did they do this?" Jack asked. "We have been good members of the Federation. We follow the rules. We pay our taxes. We have never caused trouble." Zethral sighed. All 4 of his eyes looked sad. "That is exactly the problem, my friend. Humanity has been too successful. In just 12 years, your species has built new ships, developed new technology, and made friends with dozens of other species. The Council is afraid of you. Afraid of us?" Lisa said. "We are the weakest species in the galaxy." "You are the youngest," Zethral corrected her. "But you are not weak. You grow too fast. You learn too quickly. The Council sees this, and they worry. They want to slow you down. They want to remind you of your place." Jack nodded slowly. He was starting to understand. This is not about tribute at all. This is about control. "Yes," Zethral said. "The Council has used tribute to control young species for millions of years. Pay the tribute, and you are safe. Refuse, and you die. No species has ever found a third option." Jack was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the data tablet with its terrible message. He looked at the fear in Lisa's eyes. He looked at the sympathy in Zethral's 4 eyes. Then he smiled again. "I want to request an audience with the full Galaxy Council," he said. Zethral blinked all 4 eyes at once. "Jack, that is very dangerous. If you go before the Council and say the wrong thing, they could order your death on the spot. I understand the risk. They will expect you to beg," Zethral continued. "They will expect you to grovel and plead and promise to do whatever they want. That is what every other species has done." "I will not beg," Jack said calmly. "I will not grovel. I am going to make them an offer they have never heard before." Lisa stood up from her chair. "Jack, are you sure about this? We should at least prepare our fleet. We should get ready for war." "Get the fleet ready," Jack agreed. "But keep them hidden. I do not want the Council to see them until I am ready." "What are you planning?" Lisa asked. Jack picked up the data tablet and turned it off. The Council seal disappeared from the screen. "I am planning to show the Council something they have forgotten. They've been in power for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to meet someone who is not afraid of them. But we should be afraid," Lisa said. "They can destroy us." "Maybe," Jack said. "But fear is a choice. And I choose to smile instead." He walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back at his old friend. "Get Admiral Hawkins on the line. Tell him to move the fleet to position 7 and wait for my signal. And Lisa, pack your bags. You are coming with me to Nexa Prime." Lisa shook her head, but she was almost smiling now too. "You are either the bravest man I have ever met, or the craziest." "Probably both," Jack said. "Now let us go change the galaxy." 3 days later, a small human ship left Earth and flew toward the center of the galaxy. Inside were 5 humans with nothing but a data tablet and a plan. Behind them, hidden in the darkness of space, waited Earth's tiny fleet. The Galaxy Council had demanded tribute. Humanity was about to respond, and they were going to do it with a smile. The Grand Chamber of the Galaxy Council was the largest room Jack Morrison had ever seen. It was so big that clouds formed near the ceiling. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform, and every seat was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Jack stood on the platform with Lisa Vance at his side. 3 other members of their team waited behind them. That was all. 5 humans in a room full of beings who could destroy their entire world. High Chancellor Morvex looked down at them from his throne at the top of the chamber. He was a Drethian, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. His body was covered in dark scales, and his eyes burned like red fire. He had ruled the council for 300 years. In all that time, no one had ever challenged him. "The representatives from Earth," Morvex announced. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "You have come to answer our tribute demand. Speak." Jack looked up at the thousands of faces watching him. He saw curiosity in some eyes. He saw hate in others. He saw pity in a few. But he did not see fear. These beings had never known fear. They had been powerful for too long. It was time to change that. "Thank you, High Chancellor," Jack said. His voice was calm and steady. "Before I give my answer, I have some questions. May I ask them?" A murmur ran through the chamber. Council member Yuthara, a tall creature with silver skin and no visible eyes, leaned forward in her seat. "Questions? No species has ever asked questions before. You are here to accept or refuse. Nothing more." "I understand," Jack said. "But on my world, we believe in understanding things before we agree to them. Please, allow me a few simple questions." Morvex studied Jack with his burning eyes. Then he nodded slowly. "Ask your questions, human. But do not waste our time. Thank you." Jack smiled politely. "My first question is simple. Why do you demand tribute from young species? The question seemed to surprise the council. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Morvex answered in a voice that sounded almost bored. It is tradition. It has always been this way. Young species pay tribute to the council. In return, the council protects them and allows them to grow. Protects them from what? Jack asked. Another pause. Yuthara made a sound that might have been a laugh. From danger, of course. The galaxy is a dangerous place. What kind of danger? Jack pressed. Pirates? Natural disasters? Disease? All of those things, Morvex said. His voice was getting impatient. And other dangers as well. Jack nodded like he understood perfectly. I see. So the council protects young species from all these dangers. That is very kind. But I am curious about something else. What happens if a species refuses to pay tribute? The chamber went completely silent. Even the clouds near the ceiling seemed to stop moving. Morvex's red eyes grew brighter. If a species refuses, the council takes action. We do what is necessary to maintain order in the galaxy. You destroy them, Jack said. It was not a question. If necessary, yes. Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out his data tablet. He pressed a button, and a holographic display appeared in the air above his head. It showed a list of names and dates. I have studied the history of this council very carefully, Jack said. In the past 1,000,000 years, 17 species have refused to pay tribute. All 17 were destroyed. Their worlds were burned. Their people were killed. Their names were erased from history. Is this correct? Morvex did not answer. He did not need to. The truth hung in the air like smoke. So, when you say the council protects young species, Jack continued, what you really mean is that the council protects young species who obey. And if they do not obey, the council becomes the danger they need protection from. Yuthara rose from her seat. Her silver body shook with anger. How dare you speak to us this way? You are nothing. Your species is nothing. We could crush your pathetic little world in a single day. You could try, Jack agreed. His smile never changed. But I wonder if you really want to. Lisa Vance stepped closer to Jack. Her hand moved to her side, where a weapon was hidden beneath her uniform. But Jack shook his head slightly. Not yet. Humanity does not want war, Jack said. We are not here to fight. We are here to offer something better. Better than tribute? Morvex sounded almost amused. What could you possibly offer that is better than submission? Jack turned off his data tablet and put it back in his pocket. Then he looked directly at the High Chancellor. We offer trade. Real trade. Fair trade. We offer partnership instead of slavery. We offer friendship instead of fear. Laughter erupted across the chamber. Thousands of voices mocked the small human standing alone on the platform. Even Morvex allowed himself a thin smile. Trade, the High Chancellor repeated. You want to trade with us? Why would we trade when we can simply take? Because, Jack said, and his smile grew wider, humanity has something that every species in this room wants. Something you cannot take by force. Something that will change the balance of power in this galaxy forever. The laughter stopped. Jack pulled out his data tablet again. This time, the holographic display showed something different. It showed scans of an ancient structure hidden in the darkness near Neptune. It showed symbols and technology that predated the Council by millions of years. It showed the greatest discovery in the history of humanity. Morvex's red eyes went dark. For the first time in 300 years, the High Chancellor of the Galaxy Council looked afraid. How did you find that? He whispered. Jack Morrison kept smiling. That is a very good question. Would you like to hear the answer? The silence in the grand chamber was so deep that Jack could hear his own heartbeat. Every eye in the room was fixed on the holographic image floating above his head. The ancient structure near Neptune glowed with a strange blue light that seemed to pulse like something alive. High Chancellor Morvex slowly rose from his throne. His scales had turned pale, and his red eyes were dim. He looked like a creature seeing a ghost. "That is impossible," he said. "We searched every corner of this galaxy. We destroyed every trace of them. There should be nothing left." "Them?" Jack asked. "Who are they?" Morvex did not answer. He was too busy staring at the image with a mixture of fear and wonder. Council member Euthura spoke instead. Her silver body was trembling, and her voice had lost its arrogance. "The architects. They were here before any of us. Before the council. Before civilization itself. They built things we cannot understand. They knew secrets we cannot imagine. And then they disappeared." "They did not just disappear," Morvex finally said. "They left. They saw what the younger species were becoming, and they chose to leave. But before they left, they hid their knowledge. They buried it so deep that no one would ever find it." "We found it," Jack said simply. The holographic display changed. Now it showed images from inside the structure. Strange machines covered the walls. Symbols that looked like writing but moved like water. And in the center of it all, a device that glowed with the same blue light as the structure itself. 3 years ago," Jack continued, "one of our scientists discovered this structure by accident. His name was Dr. Kevin Nash. He was studying the moons of Neptune when his instruments detected something strange. At first, he thought it was just an asteroid. But when he got closer, he realized it was something much more important. Lisa Vance stepped forward and took over the explanation. We sent a team to investigate. What they found inside changed everything we thought we knew about the universe. The architects left behind technology that makes our most advanced machines look like children's toys. They left behind knowledge that could cure every disease, solve every problem, and answer every question humanity has ever asked. And you kept this secret?" Ithara demanded. "For 3 years?" "We did," Jack admitted. "We needed time to study it. Time to understand what we had found. And time to prepare for this moment." Morvex descended from his throne. He walked down the steps slowly, his ancient body moving with careful purpose. When he reached the platform, he stood face to face with Jack Morrison. The High Chancellor was twice as tall as the human, but somehow Jack did not seem small. "Why are you telling us this?" Morvex asked. "You could have kept it secret forever. You could have used it to build weapons and conquer us all. Why reveal it now?" Jack looked up at the ancient creature without fear. "Because that is not who we are. Humanity does not want to conquer anyone. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We just want to live in peace, trade with our neighbors, and explore the stars." "But you must know what will happen now," Morvex said. "Every species in this room will want that technology. They will fight wars over it. They will tear the galaxy apart trying to take it from you." "They could try," Jack agreed. "But there is another way." He pressed a button on his data tablet. The holographic display changed again. This time, it showed a document. A proposal written in the universal language of the Council. "This is our counter-proposal," Jack said. "Instead of paying tribute, humanity offers to share the architect's knowledge with everyone. Every species. Every world. Equal access for all." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Some voices shouted in anger. Others shouted in excitement. The noise grew louder and louder until Morvex raised his hand for silence. "You would share it freely?" he asked. "Even with your enemies?" "We do not have enemies," Jack said. "We only have neighbors we have not made friends with yet." "That is very naive," Morvex said. "There are species in this room who would kill you the moment they had the chance." "Maybe," Jack admitted. But we believe that cooperation is stronger than competition. We believe that sharing makes everyone richer. And we believe that the only way to build a better future is to trust each other. Ithara laughed bitterly. Trust? In this galaxy? You truly are children. Perhaps, Lisa Vance said. But sometimes children see things that adults have forgotten. Sometimes they ask questions that everyone else is too afraid to ask. And sometimes they find solutions that everyone else said were impossible. Morvex was quiet for a long moment. His red eyes studied Jack's face like he was trying to solve a puzzle. The Council will never agree to this, he finally said. Too many species benefit from the old ways. They will vote to destroy you and take the Architect's technology by force. Maybe, Jack said. Or maybe some of them are tired of the old ways too. Maybe some of them remember what it was like to be young and weak and afraid. Maybe they would like to try something new. He looked up at the thousands of seats rising around him. He saw Ambassador Zethral watching with all four eyes wide open. He saw other faces that did not look angry or afraid. They looked hopeful. We are not asking you to change overnight, Jack continued. We are asking you to take one small step. End the tribute system. Let young species grow without fear. And in return, humanity will share everything we have learned from the architects. All we ask is a chance. Morvex turned and looked up at his council. The voices that had been so loud were now quiet. The faces that had been so angry were now uncertain. The High Chancellor of the Galaxy Council had a decision to make. And for the first time in 300 years, he was not sure what the answer should be. We will vote, Morvex announced. Every member of this council will cast their choice. And whatever the result, there will be no going back. Jack Morrison nodded and smiled. That is all we ask. A chance to show you who we really are. The vote was not going to happen immediately. Morvex announced that the council would take 3 days to discuss the proposal before making their decision. 3 days that felt like 3 years. Jack Morrison sat in the small quarters assigned to the human delegation. The room was simple but clean, with windows that looked out at the endless city of Nexu Prime. Billions of beings lived on this world, and most of them had never even heard of Earth. That was about to change. One way or another, Lisa Vance walked in and sat across from him. Her face was tired, and her uniform was wrinkled. Neither of them had slept much since arriving. I just spoke with Admiral Hawkins, she said. The fleet is still hidden in Position 7. He's ready to move if things go wrong. Things will not go wrong, Jack said quietly. You do not know that. Half the council looked like they wanted to kill us on the spot. Jack smiled, but it was a sad smile. The other half looked like they wanted to believe us. That is more than I expected. Lisa shook her head. I still do not understand why we are doing this. We could have kept the architect's technology secret. We could have built weapons and ships that no one could match. We could have made ourselves strong enough that no one would ever threaten us again. And then what? Jack asked. We become like them. We spend the next million years demanding tribute from weaker species. We become the bullies instead of the bullied. At least we would be safe, would we? Jack leaned forward. Lisa, I have studied history. Human history and galactic history. Every empire built on fear eventually falls. Every species that hoarded power eventually lost it. The Drethians were once weak like us. They grew strong by taking from others. And now look at them. They are so afraid of losing their power that they cannot imagine any other way to live. Lisa was quiet for a moment. You really believe we can change them? I believe we can show them another option. What they do with it is up to them. A knock at the door interrupted their conversation. One of their team members entered, looking excited and nervous at the same time. Sir, you have a visitor. Ambassador Zethral is here. The Vorithian diplomat entered the room with all four eyes darting nervously. He closed the door behind him and spoke in a low voice. I should not be here. If the council finds out I am meeting with you privately, they will accuse me of conspiracy. Then why are you here? Jack asked. Because you need to know what is happening. The vote is not looking good. Yuthara has been meeting with the other powerful species all night. She is building a coalition against you. She wants to reject your proposal and take the architect's technology by force. Lisa cursed under her breath. How many votes does she have? Almost half the council. Maybe more. Zethral wrung his thin blue hands together. But that is not the worst part. There are rumors that she has already sent a message to her military. Ships are moving toward your solar system. Jack felt his heart drop, but he kept his face calm. How long do we have? A week, maybe less. If the vote fails, her ships will reach Earth before your fleet can return to defend it. Lisa jumped to her feet. We need to leave now. We need to warn Admiral Hawkins. No, Jack said firmly. If we run, we prove their point. We show them that humans are just like everyone else, afraid, ready to fight when things get hard. Jack, this is not the time for philosophy. Our world is in danger. Our world has been in danger since the day we joined the Federation. Jack stood and faced Zethral. Ambassador, you said almost half the council supports Yuthara. What about the other half? Zethral thought for a moment. Some will vote against your proposal because they are afraid of change. Others are waiting to see which way the wind blows. They will vote with whoever seems likely to win. And Morvex? How will he vote? No one knows. The High Chancellor has not spoken to anyone since the assembly ended. He is locked in his chambers, alone with his thoughts. Jack walked to the window and looked out at the alien city. Somewhere out there, decisions were being made that would shape the future of his species. He could not control those decisions. He could only control what he did next. I need to speak with Morvex, he said. Lisa and Zethral both stared at him. That is impossible, Zethral said. The High Chancellor does not take private meetings. He has not spoken to anyone outside the council chambers in 50 years. Then it is time for him to make an exception. Jack turned back to his friends. Lisa, contact Admiral Hawkins. Tell him what we have learned, but tell him to stay hidden. We are not starting a war today. And what are you going to do? Lisa asked. I am going to visit an old man who has forgotten what it feels like to hope. 3 hours later, Jack Morrison stood outside the massive doors of the High Chancellor's private chambers. 2 guards blocked his path, their weapons raised and ready. The High Chancellor sees no one of them said. Leave now or we will remove you. Jack did not move. Tell him that the human diplomat has something to show him. Something from the architects that he has not seen yet. Something that might change everything. The guards looked at each other uncertainly. Then, one of them disappeared inside the chambers. A minute passed. Then another. Finally, the doors opened. The High Chancellor will see you, the guard said. But if you waste his time, you will not leave this room alive. Jack smiled and walked forward. I understand. I promise I will not waste his time. The doors closed behind him, and Jack Morrison found himself alone with the most powerful being in the galaxy. The High Chancellor's chambers were nothing like Jack expected. There were no treasures or trophies, no symbols of power or conquest. Instead, the room was filled with books, thousands of them covering every wall from floor to ceiling. Some looked so old that they might crumble at a touch. Morvex sat in a simple chair by a window, looking out at the stars. Without his throne and his council, he looked smaller, older, almost fragile. You are brave or foolish to come here, Morvex said without turning around. I have killed beings for less. I know, Jack said, but I do not think you will kill me. Why not? Because you are curious. You want to know how we found the architect's ruins. You want to know what else we discovered. And most of all, you want to know if there is any truth to what I said in the chamber. Morvex finally turned to face him. His red eyes were dim and his scales had lost their shine. He looked tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. I have ruled this council for 300 years, he said. I have seen species rise and fall. I have made decisions that ended worlds. And in all that time, I have never met anyone like you. Like me? A leader who smiles when he should be afraid. A diplomat who speaks truth when lies would be safer. A human who comes to my private chambers with no weapons and no guards, knowing I could kill him with a thought. Morvex shook his head slowly. Either your species is very brave or very strange. We are probably both, Jack admitted. For a moment, something like a smile crossed the ancient creature's face. Then it faded, replaced by something that looked like sadness. You want to know the truth? Morvex asked. The real truth about why the council demands tribute. Yes, Morvex gestured to a chair across from him. Jack sat down and waited. Long ago, before I was born, the council was different. Young species were welcomed as equals. Knowledge was shared freely. The galaxy was peaceful and prosperous. Morvex paused, lost in memories. Then the first war came. A young species with new technology decided they wanted more. They attacked their neighbors. Millions died. The council responded with force, and that species was destroyed. The first of the 17, Jack said quietly. Yes. After that, the older species became afraid. They decided that young species were too dangerous. They needed to be controlled, contained, so the tribute system was created. Pay your tribute, and you prove your loyalty. Refuse, and you are destroyed before you can become a threat. But that does not work, Jack said. You cannot build trust with fear. You can only build resentment. I know. Morvex's voice was heavy with regret. I have always known. But I was young when I became High Chancellor. I was full of fire and certainty. I believed the old ways were the only ways. By the time I realized I was wrong, I had already done things that could not be undone. He stood and walked to one of his bookshelves. He pulled out an old volume and handed it to Jack. The pages were written in a language Jack could not read, but the pictures were clear. They showed a young Drethian with bright eyes and strong scales, standing proudly before a cheering crowd. That was me 300 years ago. I was going to change the galaxy. I was going to bring justice to every corner of the stars. Morvex took the book back gently. Instead, I became the very thing I once hated. A tyrant who rules through fear. It is not too late to change, Jack said. Is it not? Euthara has half the council ready to vote against you. She has ships moving toward your world. Even if I wanted to help, what could I do? Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out his data tablet. He pressed a button, and a new hologram appeared. This one was different from the others. It showed a message written in the strange flowing script of the architects. We found more than technology in those ruins, Jack said. We found a message. The architects left it for whoever came after them. It took us 3 years to translate it, but when we finally understood what it said, everything changed. What does it say? Jack read the words slowly. Fear builds walls. Trust builds bridges. The species that learns this lesson will inherit the stars. The species that does not will destroy itself. Morvex stared at the message for a long time. His red eyes grew bright, then dim, then bright again. They knew, he whispered. They saw what we would become. They tried to warn us, and now we have a chance to listen. Jack stood and faced the High Chancellor directly. I am not asking you to change the entire galaxy in one day. I am asking you to take one step. Vote for our proposal. End the tribute system. Give young species a chance to grow without fear. And if I do, what happens then? Then we start building bridges. One at a time. One species at a time. It will not be easy. It will not be quick. But it will be worth it. Morvax was quiet for a very long time. Outside the window, stars burned in the darkness. Somewhere out there, ships were moving toward Earth. Somewhere out there, the future was waiting to be decided. Finally, the High Chancellor of the Galaxy Council stood up straight. His scales seemed brighter. His eyes seemed clearer. He looked like a different creature entirely. 300 years ago, I wanted to change the galaxy, he said. I failed. But perhaps it is not too late for someone else to succeed. The next day, the council voted. It was close. So close that some thought the proposal would fail. But when the final votes were counted, humanity's offer was accepted. The tribute system was abolished. For the first time in millions of years, young species would be allowed to grow without paying for protection they never needed. Morvax stepped down as High Chancellor 3 months later. He visited Earth privately to see the architect's ruins for himself. When he left, he shook Jack Morrison's hand and smiled. You were right, he said. Trust builds bridges. Jack smiled back. It is only the beginning. We have a lot of work to do. Then let us do it together. 1 year later, 30 species were working side by side at the Neptune ruins. The old enemies were becoming new friends. The old fears were becoming new hopes. And somewhere in the center of the galaxy, a young species watched the stars and dreamed of a future where no one had to be afraid anymore. Humanity had come to the council with nothing but a smile and a promise. And the galaxy would never be the same.